So this is the base of a cutting I'm doing today. This is what we call a polybanded system. So it's mostly lace at the front, so you can use glue, have a real natural looking hairline. This helps the hair breathe. We don't usually glue here. We just usually leave this a bit kind of loose, just so it helps you breathe when you sweat. And the polyband is usually when people use the tape, and it gets a nice strong bond with tapes. So you can see how good the hairlines are, even with just a bit of tape. Obviously just for a block cut, we don't glue it down, we just kind of tape it in blocks. So like you can see, a little bit of glue tape there, but obviously I've just got a bit too far. But if you look just behind it, how good that hairline actually looks. Hi guys, Troy back again with another block cut. So this is a gentleman who quite regularly orders these systems from us, and we regularly cut them in and send them to him. So I've just brushed it back so you can see the hairline in the video I've just done, which will be put somewhere in here, I'm sure. So obviously, gentleman's cut it. He has it kind of short, a bit kind of like mine. So I'm just going to show you roughly how we cut it. Again, whoops, there goes my cutting. Already going to be one of those days. So obviously, same thing we always do. We always start at the back, just dampening the edges down. And all I'm going to do, take a small fine section, dampen that down a little bit. Now, I'm just going to take a good chunk off because we already know what kind of length the gentleman likes. Give myself a good line to start with. So the reason it's important to razor it and feather it and do lots of thin little layers to give it more texture, it just helps the blend. I mean, too many times we see people that just have it cut with scissors, or they have it cut really high and tight with clippers, which, you know, look great in the short term, but it's not a long-term fix, because what will happen is you'll just end up with a big sharp line all the way around. And there's a lot of pop-up hair replacement going on, which is just people doing it in general barbers, who I'm very sure the barbers are fantastic at what they do. Unfortunately, cutting a hair system and cutting someone's natural hair is two massively different things. So we see a lot of issues of people going to these pop-up places and having these systems done and then coming to us and going, why have I got this big line? Why can't I get it to look as good as it did the first time I had it done? And it's because they've cut the system so short on the edge that there's no way of reblending it once the hair starts to grow, because no haircut, no matter how good any hairdresser or barber is millimetre the same every time. So it's just something to be wary of. It's sometimes better to have that little bit of length in it. Maybe not quite have it as high and tight as you would actually like, just because it's one of those things that to maintain, unless you're going to get your hair cut every week and have it reattached every week by someone who's doing it, it's just not going to work. So all I'm doing now is I'm just taking every single little layer down and just feathering it off, so that the hairline goes a bit more feathered through. Now I'm going to carry on doing that all the way around, and then when we get to the top I'll come back and show you some more. Right then. Right then, so as I told you I was going to do around the edges, which I have all the way around. So now I'm going to blend that front edge in, and I'm also going to blend in all the top. So what we do, spread it down a little bit. Now, going from the back sections, which should be pretty close, what I'm doing is going across and making sure that both edges across that middle section blend in well. Do one more section, lifting just so I can see the back section, chipping into it to give it a bit more texture. So I'm going to continue that all the way into the front edge. And when we get to that front edge, I'm going to just take a good chunk off to start with, because I know he needs it a lot shorter than what it comes as. Blending it into that corner. Cut a bit of length off this fringe a bit more. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to finish off and I'll show you the finished product. Right then, so that is the finished cut. Now all I'm going to do is quickly just damp it down a little bit, dry it off a little bit, so that when we send it, it's nice and dry, so it doesn't cause any issues. As you can see, yeah, so that is the finished product, ready for the guy to be sent off, and then he'll attach it himself. I don't know exactly how he attaches it. I'm pretty sure it's glue at the front. But yeah, that's another one done.